seemed to be okay for me. Now, game ball. I wanted to talk a little bit about this concept that the high school test. I said it to you already, but we have been following the NAEP scores now since 1992. And I said they were higher in 1992. Not that much higher, but they were higher. But when you spend $1.2 trillion and you make a promise to every American citizen, because I want to go back to NCLB, a promise was made. A promise that every researcher, I'm a researcher, I was like, what are you, crazy? Here's the promise they made. Secretary Page said that every child will be a reader and a writer and able to do math at grade level from 3rd grade to 8th grade, regardless of any outside conditions. You can't say that. That's sort of like saying, I promise you there'll be no cancer in 12 years, just all you need to do is give me $1.2 trillion. You understand? It was a scam from the beginning, and I think we have to know it. And I think we have to know it's not just a Common Core, it's not just SBAT, it's, we need to take back our schools. I heard, we gotta listen to college readiness, college readiness, college readiness. Well, you know, I have a daughter who has a master's degree. She just came home from Uppsala in Sweden. She studied over there, and she came back, and I'm saying, hey, honey, it's time to get a job. I'm not so certain that if she went out on the job force, maybe I'm thinking, honey, you ever think about electrical work? You ever think, you know, we did that. You ever think about being a painter? Hey, maybe I could get you a job back in New Jersey, you know. This concept, but never mind the career and college stuff. What about citizenship? I learned to love my country from my home, and I learned to love my country from the I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I learned to love my country from my teachers. And believe me, they were, if I'm sure if I could pull them out and say, were you on the left, were you on the right, were you in between, they would be all of those things. But they were unified in an understanding that school was more than a preparation for work. We need to be able to prepare our young people to govern themselves, to rule themselves, to keep this democracy going. It's not perfect. Who's saying that? I don't want a bunch of yes people. I don't want people to say, well, we can't tell you whether we have the constitutional right or not. Let's go ask Pearson so they can give us a standardized test because it's either A, B, C, or D, or E, or none of the above. I don't want that. I want to understand that. Let's go to the next slide. This is the graph. You can't see it very well. But the end result should be our high school. And this group of high schoolers are the first ones to have nothing but No Child Left Behind and Race to the Top. They were the beneficiaries of 1.2 trillion, and then you have to add the states contributed another 90%, so that means $10 trillion was spent on them. And when you look at that little piece over there, and you look at it, and you can see we have a drop, we have a slight little increase in math, and mathematicians will tell you that's because we've increased 3rd and 4th grade scores by concentrating on multiplication, division, the simple things that kids have always been able to do, and that little bump over there can carry you through a little over there. Does that sound like a $10 trillion deal to you? I feel like I've been robbed. I feel like I want a refund. I always post on Secretary Duncan's Facebook page. I always post, can I get an audit on it? Can I get a forensic audit? Because I want to find out where this money went. But let's go to the next slide. So, I've been asked to address some specific groups. So, we've already heard Denise say that over 360 of the nation's leading early childhood educators and researchers have taken a stand against the Common Core and its assessments. Well, this is a group of 180 of them. This group comes out of, it's called Defending the Early Years. One of the people in this group is Dr. Nancy Carlson Page, who has written for decades about the value of play. And when she looks at kids working on the iPad, I've got to meet Nancy, and then I had her as a speaker at one of our conferences. And she brought back some, at the time, Common Core assessments come back from Florida. And she showed some kids pulling their hair, looking at the papers, trying to do the things like they were taking a standardized test. And then she said, let me show you what really helps a kid. And then she showed a bunch of blocks on the floors, and she showed the kids picking them up, putting them down. She showed the kids, she said, don't buy the scooter with all the lights, buy the one without the lights. And remember, when the kid puts his leg over, and they go like this, and they sit down, that's a pretty complicated thing. And they're learning about perception, and they're learning about that. And play is what teaches them their coordination. It teaches them how to get along. It teaches them about friendship, loyalty, trustworthiness. She said, where's that on the Common Core? I don't see it on those assessments. All I see is stressed out children. So we talk about that piece over there. We'll go to the next slide. That's just a place over there to have information in a handout if you want to go there. I wanted to talk about, I've been asked to address two groups particularly. I'm a different kind of academic. I'm such a blessed man. Because I get on, if you came to my classes in the spring, you would find parents, teachers, and kids. So I'm not like your regular college professor. I'm the director of our literacy center. Every day we're reading, every day we're writing, every day we're talking, every day we're working together, and we're trying to improve things. And we feel we focus on the whole child.